Then we'll call the meeting to order. We won't excuse anybody just because you're missing from the scene and screen doesn't mean that you're not there. We do have some guests. I think I see somebody there in the building with Jeff. So we'll perhaps just go through some introductions. I'll start with myself. I'm Clarence Amelung and I chair the MPC meeting, and then we'll go on to Yubi. Let's do it in order of
Good morning. Huey Callan, Division 2 in Tilly area.
Good morning, Anne-Marie Phillipson, Patricia Millicent area.
Good morning, Wayne Hammergan for the Scandia Rainier and Bow City area.
Good morning, I'm Tracy Fife from Division 5, and it includes Castles, Antelope Creek, and Lake Mill Resort areas around Brooks.
Good morning, I'm Kelly Chrisman. I'm from the west side of the county, Division 6.
I'm Ellen Unruh, and I'm from Division 7, which is around the village of Rosemary.
Brian DeJong, I represent Div 8, and that's around the village of Dutchess.
Everyone.
Well, you're causing all.
I'll try that again. That's Molly Douglas, Div 9, Jam.
Are you a Mount Everest, Molly?
Hey, Lionel Just. I represent Division 10, which is north and east of Brooks.
Clarence, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Jeff, can you kind of organize the guests through the room there?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 4 guests in attendance with us today, and I will get them up here to introduce themselves here one by one. I'll come up to the camera. Colin Brown.
Welcome, Colin.
Trevor Tetzlaff.
Morning, Trevor.
Hubert Romans, Dutchess.
Morning, Hubert.
Hey. I'm Tom DeClerc.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
Okay. Is that's
We have 2 online, Clarence. Henry Friesen and Christy Simpson, I think.
Oh, okay. Henry is not responding. I see him on my thing, but and Jeff looks strangely unfamiliar.
Good morning. I am Maria Jackson. I'm the Supervisor of Planning and Development, and I had some technical difficulties. Luckily, we're okay with sharing a little bit here at the county.
Okay, super. Office. You haven't changed your name yet, have you?
Not yet. Those are big boots to fill.
Okay. So do you still want to do subdivisions last?
Well, I can do whatever. So however you'd like to do it, Mr. Chair, is good with me.
Okay, so everything's fine just to go through the meeting as the agenda is?
You bet.
Okay, super. All right, then we'll go to the minutes. And they're from May the 20th. and they were circulated. Yubi, moved as circulated. Okay, is there any discussion? Seeing nobody coming forward, all in favor? Molly, we can't see you, but if you oppose anything, please speak up. Okay, the minutes are approved. Are there any post-agenda items? Seeing none, can we have an adoption of the agenda, please? I'll take Tracy as the mover. Any discussion? All in favor? That is also approved. There were a number of items on the development report. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing no one coming forward, we'll take that as information. We will then move on to subdivisions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one subdivision on the agenda today. It is file number 2021-0-003. The proposal is to create one new parcel, which is approximately 7 acres, containing an existing farmstead. This proposed subdivision is located about 6 kilometers southeast of the village of Dutchess and 10 kilometers north of the city of Brooks in Division 8. The in the agricultural land use district, MPC may approve one subdivision on an unsubdivided quarter. And because this is already split due to the drain that's in there, this would be considered the third parcel out of this quarter section. There are a few options for municipal reserve in this case. One would be that municipal reserve be taken in place of land for the 7 acres. Using the county policy, the total amount owing would be $2,800. The other option would be that municipal reserve could be deferred on the remnant parcel. Staff is recommending that the subdivision of 6.25 acres of the southwest of 10, 2014, and then there's an additional 0.25 acres in the northwest of 3, 2014 be approved. We would recommend that the municipal reserve in this case be deferred to the remnant parcel. The reasoning for that is because we are also recommending that the remnant parcel be consolidated with the adjacent quarter so that the entire pivot lands have legal and physical access, which they currently do not have. So there's actually no additional parcels being created because of that consolidation, pardon me. We're recommending conditions that the remnant parcel be consolidated and that a development agreement be entered into if required by municipal services. There were no objections from any of the adjacent landowners or the required referrals. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Maria. Any questions, clarifications? Seeing no one coming forward, can we have a motion, please? Anne Marie, make the motion as recommended. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, that is passed. I see no one opposed. Okay, moving on to development permits. Channel 8, go ahead.
Okay. Development permit 2021036 is to install ground mount solar panel as well as approve the historical dwelling and deck. The freestanding solar panels are subject to accessory building and structure setbacks, and the applicant is requesting a variance of 5.1 meters, bringing the 7.6 meter setback down to 2.5. And he's also requesting a variance to the separation between the panels and the structure of 1.5 meter, bringing the 3 meter separation distance to 1.5 meter. The applicant has submitted a letter stating his reasons for requesting the variance, and the letter is included in your package. The historical dwelling was constructed in approximately 1977, according to the assessment records. We have no response from adjacent landowners, no issues or concerns from staff, and we're recommending approval with conditions. And Mr. DeClercq is here to answer questions.
Okay. Mr. DeClercq, do you have anything to add at this point in time?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. We'll throw the floor open to MPC. Are there any questions or clarifications necessary? Yes, Brian.
So when I look down at the conditions and number E on, or letter E on there, I find that very confusing why we have that in any of ours. And I know they've shown up before, but solar panels are not built to produce any glare or reflect any sunlight. So I'm not even sure why we even have that as part of the development. And anyway, so I'm curious why, and I was wondering why we can't just strike that, because I think it's silly to suggest that a solar panel is going to cause any reflection, because they're not built to do that. They absorb light, they don't reflect it.
Yes, Janelle.
Hello. We can remove condition E from the permit. That condition comes out of our land use bylaw, and I don't expect that it will be in our new land use bylaw, but we can remove that condition if you would like.
Okay, and so you have moved in accordance with that, Brian, or not?
No, I will make the motion to approve with that condition removed.
Okay, Anne-Marie. Sorry.
Earlier on, we had permitted use report, and in there is also a solar panel application. Do they have that same condition attached, even though it's in permitted use? And should we take that off too, in that case?
Anne-Marie, I'll have to, sorry, Councillor Phillipson, I'll have to look up that permit, but it is already issued. So we wouldn't remove it off of that permit unless we cancel that permit.
Oh, okay, but maybe something for the next one that comes in.
Yes.
Okay, let's get back to what we're discussing at the moment, which has a motion to approve as recommended. I've called a question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That is passed. Can we go on to the next one, please, Shanalee?
Thank you. Development permit 2021037 is an application to construct a hangar at the Bassano Airport with a variance to the setback on 3 sides. The applicant intends to purchase and consolidate lots 3 and 4 to accommodate the building required to house 3 planes. The applicant is requiring the size to accommodate the turning radius inside the building as well as the wingspan. I have listed the variances requested in the package. There was no concerns from staff. There was no response from adjacent landowners, and the town of Bassano has no objections. Mr. Tetzlaff is here to answer questions, and we're recommending approval with conditions.
Okay, thank you. Anything to add, Mr. Tetzlaff?
No, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. I'll throw the floor open to questions or clarifications. Brian?
I'm just curious whether this is going to be used as a commercial operation. You have in here aircraft repair, maintenance, and storage, so I was just curious about that detail.
Go ahead, Trevor.
The question was, is it going to be a commercial operation? No, it's not going to be. It's just going to be a private hangar for storage, and I'm trying to retire in Bassano. So.
You know, this retirement is hard sometimes. You know, we all try to do that, and things keep moving ahead. Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Ask for a motion. Wayne moves as recommended.
There's a question from Kelly, Clarence.
Yes. Kelly, go ahead.
I think my question is for staff. It's about the setbacks, and we seem to get a lot of requests for variance to our setbacks. And at 2 feet, is this going to be a hindrance to the next landowner? I just worry that, or I think that a variance to this degree is fine for the first parcel. I see there is an existing hangar on the one side. So is that going to be a problem with downspouts and water runoff, that sort of thing?
Yes, Maria?
I'll try to speak to that, and then Jeff or Shanley, you can, if I miss anything, let me know. In our current land use bylaw, this land is zoned rural business. And like you've seen in other areas, the zoning doesn't necessarily reflect very well the use of the parcel. So in this case, because it is a airport, the setbacks that are in the land use bylaw that need to be followed are maybe not the best for this use. And in our discussions with updating the land use bylaw and looking at the separate uses, ISL has recommended that we go to a direct control district for airports so that council can decide what is best for that area. So when we discuss use going forward and the future use, we have talked with the town of Bassano, Mr. Tetzlaff, myself, and Shanley. We've discussed the use and the access points and how this will be used, and we are confident that the variance request is very reasonable in this case.
I will take your word for it. Thank you, Maria.
Glenn?
Oh, sorry, I had myself muted. There was extra noise in my facility here, so I was muted it. Have we already done a motion here? No. Yes? We did. Then I'll call a question. All in favor, as recommended? Anyone opposed? That is passed. Going on to the next one, please, Shanalee.
Thank you. Development permit 2021038 is for the construction of an addition to an agricultural building with a variance to the side yard setback. The applicant has submitted a letter to MPC stating the reason for the variance. It's included in your package. The applicant is requesting a variance of 7.6 meters, which brings the setback to 0. The applicant owns all the surrounding parcels of land and is in the process of consolidating the subject parcel with the 2 parcels to the north. There was no issues or concerns from staff. We did get a response from Dinosaur Gas, and they have been in discussions with Mr. Romans, and it is understood that Mr. Romans will cover any cost of moving anything to do with Dinosaur Gas. We are recommending approval with conditions, and Mr. Romans is here to answer questions.
Anything to add, Hubert, up front?
Yeah, just maybe on the Dinosaur Gas, we have located the line with the hydrovac, and they are not concerned about it now. So their concerns are done with. So.
Okay, thank you. Anything further from MPC? Brian.
I just was want Hubert to speak a little bit about the 0 lot line, and we talked already about that, but I'd like him to explain the process that he's going through to council.
Okay, go ahead, Hubert.
Yeah, we're just in the process of course, with our buildings. You know, you start out. That was when we purchased the farm off our parents. That was 30. Well, I guess probably close to 35 years ago. And you thought you needed a parcel of land, and of course the buildings have expanded and whatnot, and so unbeknownst to us until we got into this process that we are infringing on some of our property that we own personally. So now we are in the process. Cam Christensen's already done well, he hasn't he didn't have to do a complete survey, but he's the lawyers are involved, and we're getting all 3 of the pieces put together into one lot. So when that should be done here, I just got an email that it's looking like we should have that done up in a month's time here. So
my question, Hubert, I don't think in my time on MPC that we've ever given 0, everything right on, like no variance whatsoever or any space there. And I'm wondering if it's at all a problem to add a bit of a strip of land on the south side. Because you never know what happens in the future. I know everybody's planning to stays in the family and all that, but to have that, if that ever isn't part of your parcel, perhaps it'd be handy to have maybe 10 feet, 20 feet of space further from that building. Just a question.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're going to pursue also, Clarence, is look at that because for sure, I mean, we've also got a lagoon that sits on the other side, so that is something that is going to happen also. But we thought we'll at least get these 3. That was easy. The other one's going to require some surveying and some different things. And I don't know if we're sitting right because we don't have the exact survey there. And so I think we are probably in 10 feet from the property line, but I just didn't want to. I erred on the side of caution and just said that we are right on the property line because I didn't want to say that we're 10 feet in and we're not, because I don't know for sure. But I in my own, by looking at where the stakes are, I would say that we are 10 feet in on that property line. But you're right. We need to add some property to that other side. That will happen.
So my next question to you, as an old dairy farmer, are you building it big enough? I wouldn't want you to build it too small just because you haven't got the property there.
Well, actually, all we're doing is replacing the capacity that we lost because we went to robotics. So, because this old robot's wore out, and I wish I would have had it 25 years ago. So.
Okay. Okay. Any further questions? I'll go with Lionel, and then Alan, and then Brian.
Robert, it amazes me that my friends and associates that are close to my age talk about 35 years ago and conditions that you've had to change and adjust to. So anyway, I would like to congratulate you on this and the work that you're putting in preparation for this addition. So I would like to make the motion to accept this.
Okay. Alan?
No, I was gonna make the motion to approve as well, so it's good.
All good. And who? Brian, you're the same? Okay. So we are moving to accept as recommended. Any further questions? All in favor? Anyone opposed? That is passed. Thanks for coming in, Hubert. Okay, moving on to, I think it's our last one. Channelie.
Thank you. Development permit 2021044 is for the installation of a moved-in building for residential use. There are no variances requested for this building. There is one note in my planning discussion, which is D, that there is another building that was going to be reviewed on this agenda that was removed from this agenda. And the reason for that is the building was located on a CNRL right-of-way, and we have been advised by our legal team, Brownlee, to not give a development permit on a building that is on a right-of-way and to leave it non-compliant. So we have removed that, and it will remain non-compliant. The comments from circulations, there was no issues or concerns from staff for the moved-in building. There was no response from adjacent landowners for the moved-in building, and we are recommending approval with conditions.
So Channelie, that non-compliant building, is that the small 9-meter building that out front? Is that the one we're talking about?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. Anything to add, Colin?
Nothing really to add.
Okay, questions from MPC? Seeing no questions, I would ask for a motion, please. Molly moves as recommended. Any further discussion at all? Then I call the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That is passed unanimously. There are no post-agenda items and nothing in camera that I know of. We have some information items there from Heatherite Brethren of Newell, which is for information. Question period. I do have one question for staff, and there was, I can't remember which one it is, but we've seen it before where people have to get a blue sign and so forth. Do people install these themselves, or do we go out as a county and install them? What's the process there?
I can speak to that. Rural address signs, when we began the project in 2010 and we assigned all the addresses, we kicked it off and created the rural addressing bylaw, whereas the county would manage the signs and manage the installation of the signs. So we went out and we installed, the number escapes me now how many, but we installed all of the initial signs to existing dwellings, businesses, places where, business was taking place, an emergency could happen. And we got all of those signs installed. A few years later, and the year escapes me, we amended the rural addressing bylaw to better work with operations. We were receiving a lot of feedback such that, they don't like mowing around another post that we've installed. They don't like the location that we've installed it in. They think it's not in the most visible and location for emergency services and deliveries and otherwise. So we amended the rural addressing bylaw to state that from going forward, landowners and business owners would be responsible for the erection of their blue address sign in line with the requirements in the bylaw. And some of those requirements are, it needs to be very visible from the road surface. It needs to be installed no more than 1 meter on either side of your property line. I believe it's no more than 10 meters on either side of your driveway, and between a height of 1 meter and 2 meters. This gives people the options, like I've done myself, to screw it to a fence post and get rid of that post, put it in a garden, put a wagon out there, something like that. So currently, landowners are responsible for erecting and showing their signs. When a new address is requested through a development or otherwise, they'll come in here, fill out the form, we'll order the sign, and then we'll notify them once the sign has showed up for pickup. New developments and new address requests that we may have missed in the past are not charged for the sign. Another thing that we changed in the bylaw, because people are now responsible for placing them. And I guess this was one of the issues we were coming into when we placed them. People with farm machinery, large trucks would mow them over, and that would be our issue to replace because we put them there. Well, we've kind of got away from that now as well, that, if a sign is damaged in the place that it's installed, that location was chosen by the landowner, so they would be liable for the costs of a new sign, which are very minimal, like less than $40. So that's kind of the process.
So is there lots of compliance? Are we finding that some of these signs are disappearing, or in case of this particular one where we asked them to get the sign, do we enforce it? It is definitely something that benefits all parties, but I'm just wondering how compliance is going.
I think compliance is going rather well. We've had some discussions quite recently and kind of changed our internal process with regards to notification and asking people to come pick them up and whatever else. Now, compliance for installation on site it's obviously an enforcement issue, but it's, again, not an enforcement issue that we are out chasing down and policing. The issue comes in, when we do order a new sign or produce a new address and we send notification to a landowner. I believe we give them 30 days to pick it up at the office. If they don't pick it up within those 30 days at the office, then we'll issue them another notice and let them know, hey, okay, come on. And it comes from municipal enforcement at this time, come pick up your sign. Here's the bylaw. These are the rules. If you don't come and pick it up within the specified time frame, we may come out and install it with county forces at your expense. So that's kind of how we follow that up. Again, those compliance issues are dealt with signs sitting up here at the counter waiting for people to be picked up. And when they don't get picked up, we're not following them out to their house to make sure it's installed as bylaw. They have that responsibility to follow along with that, and that's kind of where we've left it.
Okay, no, I just kind of was wondering how that was all going. So thank you. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to adjourn the meeting and thank you for your cooperation and thank all our guests for coming.